few pictures in this exhibition that I did actually in Jerusalem.
You actually painted them in Jerusalem?
I painted them in Jerusalem.
I didn't realise that.
I was there on study leave, and it's quite difficult to do oil painting, on the move, because there's you've got to let them dry and all that sort of thing. But we were staying in the city of Jerusalem, in the old city, for about 10 days, and so I did these quite early on. I had to get up really early, at about 6 a.m. to do it, because it was so hot and I wouldn't have been able to do it any other time. And also then it was quiet, there weren't other people around. But so I just did 3 or 4. Anyway, so that was.
So did you? I've taken oil paints on holidays before. I got hassled at customs hideously. Did you get hassled?
Well, even though I'm a vicar, I have no idea I can answer this question.
Tell me this.
I just assumed that the paints I had were hues that were okay to take, and I just shoved them into my suitcase. So then this one's mine.
That one's yours as well.
Angry Man.
Angry Man, yeah. How did you get Angry Man to be so angry?
Well, he was angry, let's be honest. He was involved in a kind of road rage incident with my son. He took this photo. He just crashed into my son's car. But anyway, and
my son took the photo.
My son took a photo because that was like a bit like he thought it might be useful for insurance and whatever. Anyway, and so I had this wonderful. I did this from a photograph.
That's absolutely brilliant.
It was just I just kind of like wanted to capture that anger with a kind of like in your face thing with the fingers and the cigarette packet.
It's quite interesting because I didn't ever for a minute assume it was actually a genuine photo of somebody going completely mad.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's really cool.
I'm hoping one day he'll come to one of these shows and think,
maybe I'll buy it. Take it home.
And it's upset me so much to see it being lost in the landscape. It's going to be completely destroyed in terms of its impact on the London landscape.
Because of the building around it?
Yeah. I mean, here it's all besieged by derricks as the buildings proceed. This one even more intensely, and these are different times of the day. That one there is ultimately we're going to lose the form and the shape of.
So I didn't actually understand. I mean, I knew they were doing the building. I didn't really understand that much detail about it. But it's literally what? We're going to have massive skyscrapers around it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you see on the right and the left here, this is the sort of thing that's happening. And it's just enclosing the whole thing. So the impact will be lost. And I find that very upsetting. It's a drawing I did some years ago, the elevations of Grove Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And the other one is a similar one, which I did for the church when they were raising money for the organ. So they commissioned me they asked me to do a drawing which they could then sell. Wherever I go, I take a sketchbook and develop, in Italy or in France or in the Isle of Wight or wherever it is. I've always got a sketchbook. Italy, France. And when people say, well, I wanted to be an architect, but I couldn't because I couldn't do maths or I couldn't do physics. I say it was rubbish, really. All you need to do is draw. And if you can do that,
then you're away.
That's the most important thing, because you've got to create things. You've got to understand space and how to manipulate space.
Yeah.
And if you can learn that. You can, but you've got to want to do it.
So the story behind this is in New Zealand, in the South Island. It's the fjord known as Doubtful Sound. And the story we were told is it's the place where Cook approached the shore, one of his first trips there, and saw this fjord, looked at it and said, if I go in there won't be enough wind to get out for the next year.
Yeah, you'd have thought
so I'm not going in. And that's why they say it's called Doubtful Sound.
You painted it from memory?
Well, having done the watercolour first, done that, then put that away. So rather than paint directly from a photograph, so it's a bit interpretive, but that's got quite a bit of memory in it. The next one, the small one of the volcano, this is on Fuerteventura. This island is much more desolate than Lanzarote, and there's hardly any trees there.
Wow.
And what farmland there has been abandoned, so as you see there's lava rocks all over the place here and in the film. So these are really lava fields with very few plants growing. Then the next one, this here, that's also Fuerteventura.
Oh, it is as well. Okay.
And that's from the hilltop. So you drive up an insane road of lots of hairpin bends and single track with no passing places. Then there's a building and a cafe at the top of it, and the view that's looking towards Lanzarote in the very background.
Okay.
And I was just struck by all the ochre colours.
Yeah, no, you've actually got really beautiful colours in that. You've got lots of different oranges and ochres and pinks. It's really nice actually, the colours that come through it.
And that's a fairly with that one, as always, I'm trying to use a fairly restricted palette.
Yeah. Have you left a lot of the ground coming through?
Sorry?
A lot of the ground, is that coming through? The basic colour in the back of the painting?
Yes, it is, because you can see in the cloud
in the cloud.
What my priming colour was.
Yeah. But it's quite different to this one.
Well, that's different. This is This is one of a series. Number 4 or 5.
Okay.
It's an abandoned Roman city in the south of Spain, near Gibraltar, called Bio Claudia. So we went there and I painted
Because I remember seeing that.
You've seen it, a semi-abstract. Yeah, you've seen that one, right? So that was the first one, and then there's a whole series of them. And I might come back and paint some more because
I think it was see the whole series together.
It felt to me, because it was a sort of organic place with a big history and some physical structures as well, lends itself to all sorts of
interpretations.
Yeah.
We've got a body of work from the north coast of Cornwall.
Okay.
And this is where we kind of holiday most years, and this is the coastal path that goes along from Damer Bay, looking out to Padstow.
Okay.
And it's kind of very windswept, and I wanted to get that kind of immediate, fluid, dynamic kind of feel.
Yeah.
And this, I went up to East Lothian. This is sitting on the golf course in Gullen, looking over the beach. And I did a series of these, but this is the last one left.
Okay.
And again, I sort of started off, away into my paintings. Is I kind of go off and do these sketches.
Oh, so they come directly. I showed you this before, but they come directly out of those sketches.
So it's all about mark making, really, and a variety of marks. And then I go back into the studio and I rip them up and I make a new composition, and that's all almost sort of slightly kind of abstracts them a bit.
Yeah.
But it's a way, rather than working from photographs, which I think would just make everything very static. Yeah.
It's nice that you're working from something that's already slightly removed from reality.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you ever paint from memory?
Well, I think that one is probably more memory based.
That's more memory.
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to stick. I did a painting last year, and everyone loved it. It was called Reed Valley, and I just wanted to use that sort of colour palette again.
Okay.
Prussian blues and ochres. So I think that is and actually that's on a paint. That's a fresh painting on an old painting. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
so
quite
that's
like that.
a
Gives
kind
you a
of
nice
it's a bit
vibe and
exactly. So it's got a little bit more impasto and texture and some, you can see stuff coming through.
So do you feel your painting style has changed this year?
I think I've got more confident, and I feel that this sort of way of working keeps things fresh. But for every 5 paintings you do, 2 are right, and so there are a lot of duds along the way.
Because I remember being one of the classes where one was smashed to pieces, cracked, destroyed, and thrown away. And me and Pete pulled out the rubbish and said, "Oh, that's all right."
Yeah, no, I was inclined to do that. When you start a canvas, you don't know where it's going to go, do you? There's not a sort of formula that I follow.
No, I think if there's a formula, it'd be kind of pointless, don't you?
Yes, I think it would be.
Buckler.